Hello everyone, I'm Mohammad Kuhi Muhaddam, a research assistant professor of Clinical AI Group, Faculty of Dentistry, HKU, and I decided to make a series of videos about application of artificial intelligence, AI in dentistry and oral health. For the first part, I decided to talk about some basic concepts behind AI, machine learning, and deep learning model. I hope it will be useful for you. Actually, in this series of video, I don't plan to talk about the details and the mathematics behind of these AI models. And I try to introduce these models very briefly and with some very simple examples. So the target audience of these series of videos can be some high school or college students who like to decide about their future job, or some undergraduate students of computer science or information technology, or some dental students or dentists who like to know more about AI in dentistry and oral health. Okay, let's start with the definition of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a technology that can replicate human cognitive functions. So any computer program or machine that can act like humans, such as learning and problem solving, can be considered AI-equipped program or machine. AI can be widely used in different applications, and one of the most important applications is healthcare. Like other fields, is bringing a rapid transformation in healthcare due to the huge data available in healthcare these days. Currently, AI tools are being used in the diagnosis, treatment, and predicting outcome in many medical areas such as cancer, neurology, and cardiology. Also, AI can have lots of applications in dentistry and oral health. AI can improve quality in the dental field using image detection, classification, clustering, and segmentation. So it would be interesting to know more about different applications of AI in dentistry and oral health. Okay, we defined AI, but as you notice, the AI has very general definition. Uh, and we need to actually somehow focus more on some specific part of that. The most important subset of the AI is the machine learning. And in machine learning, we provide some models that they can automatically learn without being explicitly programmed. And the deep learning is also is a subset of machine learning, which uses some deep neural network to solve the problem. And this deep neural network somehow they inspired by our human neural system. So we will talk about these two most important subset of AI, machine learning and deep learning, in the future slides. Okay, let's start with machine learning. The machine learning can be divided to three different main subcategories: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. In supervised learning, we have a training set. The supervised learning uses this training set to teach models to make the desired output. This training data set includes input and the correct outputs, which allow the model to learn over the time. For example, here, we want to build a supervised model to predict the image of different type of fruit. We have different apples, strawberry, and grapes. And we want to build a machine learning model to predict these image correctly. So the first step in building a supervised learning is building the training data set. For example, here we collected different images from different type of fruits and stored in our computer. And then we asked experts to label each of these images correctly. For example, here we put the label apple for the apple images, strawberry for the strawberry one, and the grape for different type of grapes. And the next step is feature extraction. We need to extract different type of features from this input image. We can extract features like color, like shape, like I don't know, weight, and so on and so forth. And after that, we can use these features to as an input of the model. Here we can use a different type of model for the supervised learning, like a support vector machine, neural network, random forest. Here I show a neural network model. The supervised learning can be widely used in dentistry and oral health. For example, we can develop some models to predict early diagnosis of oral diseases. Here I reference one paper that the authors used the intraoral images to train a supervised machine learning model to predict the healthy gingival from the unhealthy gingival. Let's talk about unsupervised learning. Unlike supervised learning, unsupervised learning does not require labeled data. So it means that we don't need to ask an expert to annotate the images or annotate the input data based on their knowledge. So we can directly go to the feature extraction and extract some features and use this feature as an input of the model to train the model. For example, clustering algorithm is one of the most famous unsupervised machine learning model that is widely used by different applications. Just for example, consider we have two types of fruits, and we really don't know the name of these fruits. And the only thing we know is two features, weight and the color. And we measure these two features, and the value of them we put into the 2D plot. And you can see those points related to the lemon all goes to this area. Mostly they are very actually close to each other. And the strawberry one goes to this area. So somehow we can understand these two groups, or these two clusters are separate cluster and separate group. And suppose we have a new fruit and we don't know anything about that. But the good thing is we can actually measure these two features, the weight and the color. And based on the value of these two features, we can add a new point to our 2D plot. And based on these, the location of these new point, we can understand that these new fruit related to the red cluster. The unsupervised learning can be widely used in dentistry and medicine as well. For example, here you have a pool of patients and you want to cluster them based on the treatment type and the cost the patient paid for that treatment. Here, for example, treatment type A, which has more cost, treatment type B has less cost. You can see that these patients can be clustered to these two groups. And the next time, if you have a new patient, you can extract some features from that patient, and you can decide that these patients belong to which cluster, and actually which type of treatment can be more useful for this patient. For example, this paper that I reference here, they used some type of clustering algorithm to estimate the cost saving of preventive dental service. Reinforcement learning is another type of machine learning model that here we have one agent. That these agents actually some kind of have some interaction with the environment and try to take suitable action to maximize reward in a particular situation. One of the real application of reinforcement learning is the new type of vacuum cleaners that they are equipped with AI and reinforcement learning. These vacuum cleaners actually can understand different part of your home during the time. For example, they can, after some time of the work at your home, they can understand, they can find more junk under your dining table. So they somehow optimize themselves to go to your dining table first and clean that area more carefully and put more time to clean that area. These reinforcement learning also can be used in medicine and dentistry. Any type of actually application that has any sequence of action in different time points, we can use these data for training some reinforcement learning model. For example, for design the best decision about the chemotherapy plan or dosage of different drug that we want to use in cancer therapy, we can use reinforcement learning. For example, this paper that I put here, you can go there and read about that for more details. Let's talk about deep learning model. Deep learning is a part of a broad family of machine learning methods, which is based on artificial neural network. Artificial neural network is a structure which is inspired by the biological neural network that is available in our human brain. For example, here on the left-hand side, you can see a structure of an artificial neural network. And on the right-hand side, you can see a deep learning structure, which has more actually deeper hidden layer in its structure. Actually, the deep learning is not a new concept. Maybe 20 or 25 years ago, it was introduced. But at that time, people couldn't use deep learning that much because training deep learning needs a lot of computational resources. So at that time, it was not possible to train these kind of deep models. But these days, we have cheap, powerful computer hardware like GPU, which we can use them to train our model. And also, there are a lot of big public databases on the internet that we can use these big data to train our model. So due to these two reasons, the availability of the powerful computer resources and also the big data available on the internet, we can say the deep learning becomes a very hot topic these days. Actually, in most of the time, deep learning has a better performance than other type of machine learning model. But to be honest, is not 100% true that we can say that deep learning always can be better. Just we can say most of the time, because sometimes based on your application and based on your problem that you have, maybe some traditional and some shallow neural network can show better performance. So this is very tricky. It completely depends on your application, and based on your application and problem, that would be good you choose the model you plan to solve the problem. If we want to compare traditional machine learning model with deep learning, we need to consider three different points. The first point is data consumption. Usually deep learning needs a large number of training data to train, while the traditional machine learning model can be trained with less data set. And another one is the computational cost of training of deep learning is very high. And most of the time, we need some powerful hardware to train the model, like GPU. And the last one is feature extraction, which is can be done automatically in deep learning, while in traditional machine learning model, we need to do it manually, which is kind of, we can consider as an advantage for the deep learning. Just for visualization, you can see here, for example, on the top is a traditional machine learning model, and on the bottom is a deep learning model. And you can see if we want to train the model with some image of the car. And if we want to use traditional machine learning model, we have to extract features manually. While for the deep learning, it can be done completely automatically. As I discussed, deep learning is very hot topic these days, and it has lots of application in medicine and dentistry. We will talk about some application of deep learning and machine learning in the next videos, and I hope that it will be useful for you. Thank you very much for your attention. I try to briefly introduce machine learning and deep learning to you, and I will provide more details and more links and resources in description of this video for those who like to study more about that. In the future videos, we also talk about some applications of machine learning and deep learning in dentistry and oral health. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me through my email or also put in comments on this video. Thank you so much.